People love to say eating healthy is expensive, but it really doesn't have to be. I've been eating healthy for years, feeding a family of 6, and these are the budget-friendly foods I come back to again and again. They're simple, they work, and they don't break the bank. I'm Lacey, a nutrition expert, personal trainer, and mom of 4. I've lost over 50 pounds 5 times, and I teach women how to make healthy habits stick without going broke or burning out. So let's head to the store. We aim to stay under $240 a week for our family of 6. And I know that might sound like a lot, but when you break it down, that's about $40 per person or just under $6 a day. And that covers everything. We tend to run out of things by the time that the week's over, but it keeps us fed, prepped, and on track without overspending. We eat pretty much every single meal at home and only dine out 1 to 2 times per month, so we go through a ton of groceries. I'll walk you through the foods we buy most often, broken down by category, so that you can figure out what works for your own routine. Real quick, I want to talk about the biggest areas where people go wrong when they try to eat healthy. Number 1 is buying healthy packaged foods instead of real food. These look healthy, but they're pricey and they usually don't fill you up. Pay attention to the labels because a lot of them are just as bad as a candy bar. Number 2, shopping without a plan. Walking into the store without a list is a guaranteed way to overspend. I've done it and it adds up fast. Number 3, trying too many new recipes at once, especially ones with long ingredient lists or expensive spices you'll only use once. So this is a $10 spice and I'd probably use it for 1 recipe, and then it would sit in my pantry and go bad for over a year. Now I just stick to simple ingredients and spices that go across a ton of different recipes, and it just works so much better. Number 4, only buying fresh produce and letting it go bad. We've all been there. Slimy spinach, moldy berries, and wilted herbs. If you always wind up throwing away half of your bag of spinach, try frozen instead. It's same nutrients and much less waste. Number 5 is focusing on variety instead of versatility. That means buying a bunch of different foods instead of choosing ingredients you can use in multiple ways. This is where I used to mess up. I would grab a ton of all these cool veggies, thinking I'd make a ton of fun recipes, and then almost all of them would go bad. Trust me, I've done all of them, but the good news is when you simplify, shop with a plan, and use ingredients that stretch across meals, it gets way easier and cheaper. So let's talk about the best budget-friendly healthy foods you can buy. Protein is a game changer for staying full, building muscle, and keeping cravings in check. And no, it doesn't have to cost a fortune. The key is to pick a few sources that are affordable, easy to prep, and that you'll actually eat. You don't need 10 different options, just a couple that fit your routine. Let me show you what I grab. Eggs and egg whites are still one of the best budget proteins out there, even with the rising cost of eggs. Eggs are super versatile and last forever in the fridge. They're great for scrambled eggs, fried eggs, topping on bowls or sandwiches, or having as a snack as a hard or soft-boiled egg. Black beans, pintos, chickpeas, all are great. You can make dried beans also if you want to save even more money, and I have a video on how to make black beans 4 different ways using an Instant Pot that I can link to below. But I always keep canned beans on hand for convenience. I'll add black beans to ground beef to stretch out the portions and add a healthy fiber, or include it as a side with fajitas, or we can turn it into hummus. I'll get full-fat, plain Greek yogurt like Fage, which is my favorite, and I use it in place of sour cream, in sauces, dressings, or just with fruit. If dairy doesn't work for you, you can always pick a plant-based option. Just look out for added sugars and a ton of extra ingredients. For chicken breasts and thighs, I get them bulk or frozen. Prices can vary a lot by location. In some places it's still affordable, in other places it's not. If it's too pricey, just swap it for canned tuna, eggs, or some frozen fish. We usually buy it in bulk and then store it in individual portions. And then I'll bulk prep it and then we can reheat it throughout the week and then add it to other meals like chicken and rice. Ground beef is one of the cheapest proteins out there, especially if you buy it in the larger packs. I get 93% or 94%, and then I'll use it for taco night, stir fries, just by itself with the starch and some veggies, or even mix it a little into some rice bowls. Frozen tilapia is a great budget-friendly option. It cooks fast, takes on whatever flavor you season it with, and it's a nice break from chicken. We keep it frozen and defrost it when prepping dinner, and it's practically 100% protein, and it's a great budget fish. Tilapia gets a bad rap, and I get it. Some of it comes from questionable farming practices. But if you're going to buy it, just check the label and look for tilapia that's been responsibly farmed. If you'd rather skip it though, canned tuna or salmon are great to keep on hand. And pay attention to how much of the protein you're going through for your family in a meal. For example, I know that I need at least 3 pounds of protein for a meal if I'm gonna cook for all 6 of us, and more if I'm gonna save any for leftovers to meal prep for the week. All right, so now that we've got some protein in the cart, let's talk about the carbs, because this is where you can really stretch your meals and save money. Carbs are not the enemy. I know they've gotten a bad reputation, but the truth is your body needs them. You just need the right kind. I'm not talking about ultra-processed snack foods or sugary cereals. I'm talking about real simple carbs like oats, rice, quinoa, and potatoes, the stuff that's been around forever and still works. And the bonus is, these are some of the cheapest foods you can buy. Brown rice is a solid pantry staple. It has more fiber than white rice, which helps you stay fuller longer. I like to make a big batch of it at the start of the week and then use it in bowls, stir fries, or just as a quick side. White rice is great too, especially if your family uses it. We use both brown and white rice. Quinoa is a little bit more expensive than rice, but it does go a long way, which makes it great for a base as a bowl or a quick lunch. If you've never tried quinoa, it has a slight nutty flavor and it soaks up sauces really well. I like to batch cook it also and use it in salads, taco bowls, or just have it as a side for a little extra texture and protein. I buy rolled oats in bulk and we go through a ton of it. We use them in overnight oats, oatmeal, muffins, smoothies, cookies, you name it. When you're shopping for oats, make sure you look for rolled oats or old-fashioned oats and avoid anything that says quick cooking, because that's gonna be a lot less nutrients and it's much more processed. Potatoes get overlooked a lot, but honestly, they're one of the best budget-friendly carbs out there. Sweet potatoes have fiber, antioxidants, and natural sweetness, and that works great in bowls or roasted with cinnamon. Plus, they last forever in the pantry. And white or red potatoes are filling, super versatile, and actually have more potassium than a banana. You can mash them, roast them, turn them into a skillet meal. You can't go wrong. All right, so we've got our proteins and our pantry staples covered. Now let's talk veggies. This is where you can add volume, nutrients, and color to your meals without spending a ton. Fresh veggies are great, but frozen is actually just as nutritious because it gets picked and frozen at peak ripeness. Carrots are super cheap. I roast them, slice them raw for snacks, saute them. Carrots are one of the few vegetables I never buy frozen, just because of personal preference. I don't like the texture of frozen carrots. They're also kid approved, especially with a good clean ranch dressing, and I'll share my recipe for that in the description below. Next up is spinach. Bagged is usually cheaper than boxed, no clue why. But you can add them to smoothies, eggs, pasta, whatever. And frozen spinach works just as well and lasts forever. Frozen broccoli and green beans are staples in our freezer. No chopping, just heat and go. Use fresh if you'll eat it soon, but frozen or longer lasting options can really help reduce waste and save you money. Zucchini is one of those veggies that just works with everything. It's usually very affordable, easy to cook, and you can use it in a ton of different ways. I saute it, roast it, spiralize it, and I even toss it into baked goods. Zucchinis are also great to adding bulk to your meals without adding a ton of calories. Veggies do the heavy lifting for nutrients, and then fruit is where you get a lot of flavor. Fruits add natural sweetness, fiber, and flavor, and if you shop smart, it doesn't have to be expensive. Bananas are great for on the go and perfect for freezing when they get too old. I use them in smoothies, protein pancakes, topping my yogurt, or just as a snack by itself. If they get brown, you can just freeze them for smoothies or bake them in banana bread, which I can link my recipe for you as well in the description. In season, apples are a steal. They're full of fiber, easy to enjoy by themselves, or slice them into a salad, have them with some peanut butter. If they start to get mushy, just turn them into applesauce, which I also have a recipe waiting for you in the description. Frozen berries are so much cheaper than fresh berries, and they're just as nutritious. Studies have shown that frozen fruits and veggies can have the same or even higher levels of vitamins, like vitamin C and A, compared to fresh. I usually grab frozen berries at Costco because they come in huge bags and end up being way cheaper per serving. But if I'm doing a regular grocery run, I'll typically get some fresh berries too for the week. Usually is strawberries and blueberries. Oranges are packed with vitamin C and usually super affordable. Like apples, oranges are very satiating, so you actually feel fuller after having an orange than you do other fruits. A quick tip is I try to keep fruit in sight in the kitchen, on the counter or at the front of the fridge. If I see it, I eat it. If it's buried, it gets forgotten and then it goes bad. Don't stress about always buying organic or fresh. Personally, I don't tend to buy organic. I just find it too expensive. In general, fruit is way better when it's in season, and it usually tastes better too. All right, we've talked through proteins, carbs, veggies, and fruit. Now, let's talk about how to actually make this work week to week without overbuying, wasting food, or feeling overwhelmed. I made a simple grocery list for you with everything from today's video, so you can grab it below. And if you want help turning these into meals, check out my meal prep guide or join the Cleanish Squad, my free newsletter. This weekly grocery list is what keeps us going week to week, but we do a big Costco order once a month on a budget for bulk items like frozen fruits and meats. If you want to see what that looks like, let me know in the comments. And if you want help turning this list into meals or just making healthy eating more affordable and less stressful, I've got a full video on how to meal prep on a budget. And in that one, I go deeper into the strategy, planning, saving, avoiding waste, and all the stuff that makes this doable long term. I'll link to it below so you can check it out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.